Gentlemen, before I start my speech, I would like to ask you guys a simple question. How many of you have used Uber? Can you guys please raise your hand? Once in your life. Uber. Every single one of you. So I'll get back to it. Why did I ask that question? Let me introduce myself. I'm Ishmam Tasdik Zihad. I'm a final year student at IBA University of Dhaka. Other than that, I have worked in multiple startups. I have raised $250,000 funds with a startup called Airwork AI, which was Bangladesh's biggest startup competition. I worked briefly in Davos. That's about it, and I'm from JCI Dhaka aspirants. So the question that I asked, every single of one you have used Uber. A few years ago, it was unthinkable that people will get into a car where they don't know the driver, or they don't know whom they are sharing the ride with. When Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, tried to found Uber and raise investment for Uber, he faced multiple challenges. And nobody believed in him that Uber would be a successful venture. Let's talk about Airbnb. Nobody thought that someone will come stay in someone's house that they knew. And now Airbnb is one of the finest, most profitable startup in world. These people, the founder of Airbnb, the founder of Uber, they challenged the current status quo in our society, in our country, in our world. And this challenging beliefs has redefined and reshaped how our world is moving forward. How does JCI connect to all this? When I was thinking about the motion, the first thing that came into my mind is Uber, because my driver was out today and I had to take a Uber to come here. One of the members of JCI, Aziz Arman, who is the founder of Japtri, is also redefining how the transport systems works in Bangladesh. One of my alumnus, Ahmed Fahad, who was one of the co-founder of Ahmed with Ilyas Bhai, changed how transportation work in here in Pathal. Enough with the ride-sharing examples. How does this event in itself redefine what we challenge? Us young professionals rarely get the stage to speak, to debate, and such competitions like a debate competition, like today's public speaking competitions, give us a float to challenge the current status quo that we have in our society, in our country. So thank you JCI for giving me a float to talk about this, that how challenging beliefs are redefining and reshaping our society. Now I want to share a story of mine. When I was a child, I had Dhaka, the Daily Star in my house. So every day I used to read Daily Star. Now I read Dhaka Tribune for whatever reasons. In that Daily Star, I once read a story about certain individual called Ishmam Tasdik, who was then Forbes 30 under 30. And I was so intrigued about it that I wanted to be Forbes 30 under 30. And I searched up, what does Ishmam Tasdik do? So he found it in school, and that's why he was one of the Forbes 30 under 30. And he studied in IB. Then another day, I saw that how well IBDU debate performs in world stages. They have defeated Harvard, they have defeated the likes of Oxford, and I thought that I had to get into IBA and I want to be like them. So I prepared for it and I got in. And now that I'm going to graduate in a few days, in July, all I want to be a territory officer at British American Tobacco, to sell cigarettes in shops, or better, to sell soaps in rural areas. Why does it come to that? Why am I not building my own next $1 million startup, going to Y Combinator, raising seed funds? Why do I want to be a territory executive who sells soaps or cigarettes? To come to think of that, is because the young version of me, the 18-year-old Ishmam Tasdik Zihad, wasn't afraid of the status quo. He was daring enough to challenge the status quo. Another small story. I had a biology teacher, and I'm in there for SSC and my HSCs. And on the first class, when our college started, he asked all of us that, what do you want to be when you grow up? where do you want to study? All 50% of them said they want to pursue engineering, and the rest of them said they want to pursue medical. And I was the only one who didn't raise my hand, and he asked me, why didn't you raise your hand? And I said I wanted to study in IB. And he has said me that you will never study in IB because it is unthinkable for a Bangla medium student from Bangla version to get into a place which is dominated by English medium kids. But the catch here is that I was brave enough, or I dared enough, to challenge the status quo, to raise my hand that day. But now that somebody asks, a faculty comes in my classroom and asks me, do you want to build a startup? Whoever you want to raise a business. Nobody raised their hand, nor do I. So today I want to take this floor, because there are a lot of young lads I see in front of me, do not betray the 18-year self of you, or say the 16-year-old self of you. Challenge the status quo. Redefine, reshape. You could be the next Aziz Arman, you could be the next Ayman Sadiq, you could be the next Ahmed Fahad, or better, you could be the next Sam Altman as well. A single idea can change how our society, country, or world works. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an honor to speak here.